Zero.
Show me the end of your life.
That's right. It's Warzone time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Granny's Peach Tea episode 144. And yes, Rob Zombie's Warzone for our movie of the week, Punisher Warzone. One of the movies that, Jason, you can attest to this, when we started the podcast, when we had that pre-launch meeting, this was one of the ones that was named. I said,
yes,
we are even going to watch films such as Punisher Warzone and Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
you did.
Did I not?
And here we are. You made good in your promise, Ed, because we've watched both of those movies. And we have even talked about, and we will talk about, are they movies?
That is a question, because that applies to this week's movie for sure, without question. Thanks for joining us. If you're joining us in the Facebook live stream or on YouTube or X or wherever you found your audio-only podcast, we always appreciate the support. And with me this evening, and as always, Jason. Jason, what's up?
How's it going? Ed, Rick, good to be here. Guys, sorry I'm late. We're supposed to start at 8:30. I'm a bit late. I might be a bit inebriated, but I got a good reason. I got a really good reason, guys. Because I met tonight. I was out. I was patrolling. I was doing the good work of Granny's Beach Tea. And I met in person Mr. Kelsey Grammer, a.k.a. The Beast, a.k.a. Hank. Yeah, I did. So, pictures. The pictures will be shared on the Facebook page. But I did actually get to meet him. He's a super cool guy. We took a selfie together, and then I took a picture of him and my friend, and then him and some older woman next door. The picture next to us, the table next to us, and then I sent it to her. Anyway, whole point is, real nice guy. Love that Kelsey Grammer. That's why I'm late. And honestly, if anyone ever has a better reason for being late, at me, bitches, at me.
Jason, I was going to actually, I didn't want to communicate because I was going to surprise you with this, but I was going to tell the viewers this entire story about how you went to the science convention tonight and, you were meeting with the likes of, there was a speech being given by Dr. Hank McCoy.
It's true.
And that's really what...
I'm sorry, man. I didn't know that was the plan. If I knew that was the plan, I would have buried the lead.
It's
in a sense, that's what happened.
That is basically kind of what happened. We can just go with that anyway.
It's true. Yeah. So, bro, I was there to see Hank McCoy, and I was like, it's me. I'm an inventor. I'm a scientist. I was like, Hank McCoy, show me how to be a scientist, beast, man. That's what happened.
And Rick, welcome back, dude. Another week. Thanks for joining us, man.
What's up, boys? I couldn't. It's the Punisher. I got to be here for the Punisher. Marvel Nights all day, every day.
Nice.
I'm going to show up. Funny enough, you ran into him. When I was at the beach earlier with my dogs, Jason Momoa swam out of the ocean.
That's nice.
Pulled right up. We had a beer. He wasn't trying to sell me anything, but, he took off.
That's always good.
Hey, bro, I got a beer for you, bro. Hey, it's all good in the hood, yo.
Well, quickly, by the way, on some movie news that we do have a little briefly, not even worth like title or anything like that. But after we talked about it in between shows, but it dropped on our last show that we're getting little by little. More people are coming back from the Daredevil Netflix series, right? Mm-hmm. You got Karen Page, Foggy Nelson. Earlier today reported that Poindexter, Bullseye, is coming back as well. They also rehired the stunt choreographer from...
Excellent. I did not see that.
Dude, it's all
Yeah.
coming back, man. This is like really picking up where season 3 left off, man. I am fucking excited.
No, this is awesome. And I said this the last time. I don't think I watched that last season. Now I have to. Because it's all tied in. I'm glad it's tied in. I'm glad I have to. And yeah, I love that Kevin Feige has, or whoever makes these decisions, has said, you know what? Let us reevaluate why we won't let certain things into the canon and let the good stuff into the canon. I think that's what the fans have been saying. Like, the Netflix stuff should be canon.
Agreed.
Build on it. Don't replace it.
It's it's such a small scale.
Yeah.
It doesn't impact the rest of the universe. It's your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Like, it's very encapsulated.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that if you remember back, the Netflix shows did enough of acknowledging some of the things that have happened in the MCU. Like, remember Kingpin rose to power out of the Battle of New York. And in Jessica Jones season 2, if I remember correctly, they acknowledged the Raft from Captain America Civil War. That's where they sent her mom. So, I mean, that's really all they needed to do.
Right.
Now, Rick, I remember we were talking about it at the time. Infinity War is kind of where they got into some stuff, because then it was like, oh, wait a second, people didn't start turning to dust and whatnot, and you could have weaved your way around it maybe and stuff like that, but they were already wrapping those shows up by that point, so I guess there was no reason to like bother.
How cool will it be if the next Spider-Man film has the Kingpin and the Vulture teaming up?
We got to find the Vulture. The Vulture got sent to the spiderless Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Spider-Man-less Spider-Verse.
He's going to show up at
talk
the
to
end
Madam
of
Web to find
Madam
him.
Web.
Yes.
All right. Mystic Rick is going to call Vulture showing up at the end of Madam Web.
Why not?
Post-credit scene.
Why not? I mean,
he shows up and he does something Vulture-y.
But if we're throwing this shit out, then I'm throwing an ironclad fucking prediction. At the end of Madam Web, Mojo shows up and says, "This is your non-Spider-Man Spider-Verse, humans, haha, and you will still watch it and clamor for it." He'll do all of that. You know what? People will still go see these stupid fucking movies.
Are you? Wait. So are you animating that, Mojo, or are we going like prosthetics and an actor?
I mean, I would look. I'm up to animate that, Mojo. I'm all in to go. Bah. But like, I mean, whatever MCU wants, whatever Kevin Feige wants. If Kevin Feige wants to chop my head off and make it look cylindrical and make me MODOK and do that, all right, whatever, man. He knows his shit. I trust him.
Does that mean I have to say Mephisto is showing up in a post-credit scene of Madam Web then?
I mean, it doesn't mean you have to.
Okay. I don't know, man. Dudes, I know we have to. I've been finding this need to keep poking Jason with this Madam Web stuff now, because I know how much he's.
No, listen, Madam Web is an event. Madam Web is going to be like our UFC 300.
Oh my God.
Like, it's a culmination of the anti-Spider-Man Spider-Verse.
Rick, events and good times are not the same thing.
A catastrophic event.
Oh boy! All right. Well, either way, though. By the way, I want to say, so Jason, I don't know if you saw the thing, but there's a rumor going around about Madam Web that something along the lines. I know I'm going to kind of screw this up. So apparently, the idea was when they were making it, was that Andrew Garfield was going to be the Spider-Man of that Spider-Verse.
Oh, I've heard this, yeah.
Yes, and then somehow they flubbed the timeline, and they're like, oh, wait, it's going to be Tom Holland. So they scrubbed everything from the film that referenced that movie taking place in like the 90s, but I'm like, wait, that wouldn't have worked either, because Andrew Garfield was Spider-Man in like the late 2000s.
Right.
But, and I'm
what?
Toby was close to the 90s.
I'm going to stop you both right there. The movie said, as Ed said, we were going to do this and then realized it didn't work and scrubbed it and tried to do this. Then it didn't work and we scrubbed it. The movie is going to suck. That's it. Like, if a movie ever goes, hey, I was going to do this, and then, after halfway through and mostly done, I went, it doesn't work. I'm going to scrub it and do something else. That's not a good thing.
And did I send you the Dakota Johnson thing about her? You're going to see it twice.
Oh, yes, you did. You did, yeah. Like,
I'm just dying laughing.
No.
Well, Eddie's going to see it twice.
We'll see about that.
Yes.
I'm like, come on, you see everything twice.
Look, and then Eddie will tell us why we don't need to see it twice. That's why he does it.
I do some of these things so you don't have to.
That's right.
He's like
I don't see it twice.
He's like our sin eater.
Yes. Now though, there have been rare occasions, like Let There Be Carnage. I saw once, and I think that told you all. That tells you what I needed to know. And Morbius, I only saw once.
Actually, that's a good indication. Whenever I see a movie with Ed, and I turn around because we always see you at opening night, and I go, "So, you seen it a second time?" And when Ed goes, I don't know. I'm like, oh god, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be a bad conversation.
This is not gonna go well. Which means I'm basically saying I already got it. I got everything I need to know.
Nothing here.
The knives have been sharpened. The forks are being sharpened. Let's go.
I want to segue with that into this Punisher film.
Okay, let me
supposed to be part 2. It was supposed to be the Punisher part 2 until the script became shit, and it bounced and bounced around, and then the original Punisher bowed out because of all the BS.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sorry, Jason, but Rick, yeah, I read some stuff too, just to give the. Okay, well, that's weird.
No, because my opinion on this film is heavily. It takes that into account. That's why I want to bring it up early.
No, that's fine. So, again, we'll just cue everyone in quickly. We are going through the pre-Marvel movies, the pre-MCU Marvel movies, which we've done some over time scattered. We've covered the Blade trilogy. We've done Nick Fury, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. We did Dolph Lundgren, The Punisher.
Yes, we did.
We've done Italian Captain America. Yep. Unreleased Fantastic Four. Fanforstic. Chris Evans is Human Torch, Fantastic Four. Hulk, Ang Lee Hulk, Spider-Man trilogy, Raimi's, and The Unamazing. We've done a lot of it. But now we're in the later 2000s. We're floating around in the 2000s. And last week we did The Punisher with Thomas Jane, which brings us naturally to Punisher Warzone. From 2008, which Rick was mentioning, and I'll go back to 2008 in a second and why that's significant here. But yes, there was supposed to be a sequel because apparently the Punisher, the Thomas Jane Punisher, did very well in DVD sales. Like, it did well at the box office, but not like spectacular. But apparently DVD sales, a lot of people found it on DVD and it's found its audience. Sequel got greenlit. Sequel got a release date. They were going. And then like I said, Thomas Jane and the director had read the script and they were like, this is garbage. And it was creative differences. And eventually, shortly before filming was to begin, both dropped out and were like, we're done. Lionsgate was like, oh shit, we got to pivot because we can't lose these rights back to Marvel because they're supposed to be maybe doing this shared universe weird thing that's going on there. We'll see if that works out for them. Yes, I'm an executive in Lionsgate in like 2006 talking about this.
We're making a horror movie.
Yes.
No, it's The Punisher. Every time I see the gears, I get ready for a horror movie.
Yeah, right? Like it seems like Twisted Pictures and shit. So then they rebooted. They hire Lexi Alexander, who basically only directed a couple of foreign films at that point. And we're like, let's go. Punisher, Warzone. Let's do this. Let's get Ray Stevenson in as the Punisher. Let's recast. Let's go. Jigsaw was supposed to be the villain in the Punisher sequel. We're going to keep him. And let's go. So that kind of brings us to where we're at tonight. Yeah, there's a lot of things with this movie. And 2008, before I turn it over, we go around the horn about our overall thoughts of this film, very unique film. 2008.
Very unique film.
Does anyone recall the other two of the other comic book movies that came out in 2008? I sure do. I think Robert Downey Jr. and Iron Man was released in the summer of 2008.
Yep.
I believe it was.
Ooh,
well,
yes,
an
it
inferior
was.
film, guys. Inferior film.
Yes, because that came out.
Have the character.
Well, they probably were. Lionsgate's probably like, oh, listen, well, nobody knows who the fuck Iron Man is, so
yeah,
we know that everyone knows who the Punisher is. Let's go with this. And also, The Dark Knight came out in the summer of 2008. This came out in December of 2008. This followed up both of those movies.
Batman, The Punisher and Batman love coming out around the same time. They have a thing. It's like America gets really gritty, and then you got to put out a new Batman or Punisher franchise.
Yeah, just a bit. I'm not going to start with this because I've discussed Punisher Warzone a couple of random times. Jason, I really want you to start this off because you're the new one. You broke your Punisher Warzone cherry on this viewing.
I did.
So I want you please share us. What were your overall thoughts on this thing?
All right. I'm gonna have a controversial thought here. This is one of the stupidest movies I've ever seen. It's real dumb. It's really fucking dumb. But having said that, I had a lot of fun with this movie. I'm sorry, I really did. I tried. I don't know. I tried nothing. I tried to just watch it. It was fucking fun. It was stupid as shit. Like everything is stupid in this, right? Like anything you guys go through, like we'll talk about it, and Ed, you'll go, well, Wayne Knight, his character. I'll go, yeah, I agree. That was fine, but he was stupid. And Rick, you'll probably say something like, well, you know, the weird way that the whole force looks upon Frank Castle and the fact that the only guy who's actually on his side is on the Frank Castle task force. Yeah, I read your notes, Rick. 100% correct. 100% correct. It's all stupid. However, I really fucking had fun with this stupid fucking movie. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, so in the end, I was right. I knew Jason's opinion of this movie and exactly what it was going to be.
You did. You did. You
I did.
know that I love stupid movies, but you know I can also tell you when something is stupid.
Oh, no, I agree, and that's fine. And hey, listen, if you found enjoyment in the movie in any way, and Angie watched most of this movie with me. She tapped out eventually. She did not last the test of time with it.
Courtney would have made 5 minutes into this movie.
No, Courtney would have been done in the opening massacre of the mob because it would have gotten too gory right then and there. That I guarantee that. That's
when he swings and the guy's head just comes off, she would have been like, all right.
Or someone gets stabbed right in the top of the head. Rick, me and you saw
really bad
this.
CGI. Someone gets stabbed to the throat.
Oh God. We'll get to the details in a second. Yeah,
I'm fine.
We saw this in the movie
We did.
theater as very young
yes,
men.
in 2008, in December of 2008, me and you and Tim. Let's not forget Tim.
Right.
He also was there, and I know there were others. We went to see this in Atlas Park together.
We were laughing at
Yes.
all of the violence.
Yes.
Because, so for people that don't understand the time, for me, people that don't understand the time that this movie came out and the audience that it was trying to like draw in and attract, like with the grindhouse nature of this film, and it is not grindhouse in any way. However, the violence in it has a grindhouse nature to it.
Yeah.
I feel like they were definitely trying to appeal to the ECW fans and all the guys that have just been down with like, yeah, violence, like Jason Voorhees punch you through the face, all those guys, like they were appealing to them with like, hey, this is the Punisher. Have fun with this stupid movie. And like I did. Just like Jason said. I watched this whole so I only saw it that one time. I haven't rewatched it in all these years. So I rewatched it today, and like every 10, 15 minutes in my head, like an alarm was going off like, hey, where's some shit for me to hate? I was like, I didn't hate anything in that scene. I didn't hate anything in that scene. Like when he's getting churned in the glass, like does it look like a PlayStation 1 pixelated fucking polygon mess? Yeah.
And to be fair, it's also written like that. Like that guy Jigsaw is written like that. Like, ow, he has hurt my great face with this terrible glass.
One last thought before I pass the mic back to Eddie. Can we all agree this movie had tank controls? That's how I would describe this film. Is that it was like Resident Evil 1, and I always had to pivot. I had to pivot myself in order to enjoy a scene. And I was continuously pivoting with these fucking tank controls. And I was enjoying the scenes. It was fun, man. I watched it an hour ago. It was fun.
Fair enough. I still hate this movie.
That's fair.
I do. I hate this movie. And I'll get into why. And I'm not disagreeing with you guys that I did not have a comedy factor. I was still laughing during the movie. I was laughing out hysterically. And honestly, more than I recall laughing in the theater when I saw this. Because I started laughing earlier, because I guess I knew. I remember I mentioned before when we saw this in the theater, and the whole scene with the random parkour guys deciding to jump over that fucking thing, and then Frank Castle blows up one of them with a fucking missile, and he just inexplicably just turns to like red dust out of nowhere. That's when in the theater, that's when we decided this is a comedy. And I think we were fairly like quiet and like all probably cringing before that. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what are we doing? And then we started laughing. Now I started laughing from the opening credits on because I knew where we were going. And this is also my second time watching it in full. I did not watch the entire movie. I've watched scenes, and I've tapped out pretty quickly. So some of the reasons I genuinely hate this movie is because, again, I wanted a Punisher sequel to Thomas Jane with a better film because I felt like there was the bones. We discussed this last week. There was the bones of a really good, dark, gritty Punisher movie there, but they felt the need to insert goofy neighbors, and John Travolta decided to completely fucking mail it in and go over the top with this.
Oh, you killed my son. Ooh,
I just want to dance.
Let's dance. You killed my son. Let's dance.
But I was just thinking back to my anticipation for this. I remember when this movie came out and the trailers were there and stuff, and I'm like, oh man, this might be what I wanted the first time. And Rick, I don't know if you recall, but like maybe that's why a large group of us, besides the fact that we were 28 years old and like hyped up and just really into it, we were like, cool, this looks like a balls to the wall Punisher movie. And then we got this. And I was kind of just trying to remember some of that. And having just seen the Punisher last week, I was sort of back there, even though I knew what I was walking into. And I kind of feel like this movie, the creative decisions were very reactionary. It was like, oh, well, people didn't think that the Thomas Jane movie was like had enough action and gore in it. Fuck it. Let's ramp it up to 6,000 and let's just go fucking bonkers. Like Rick said, a Grindhouse movie. But this movie goes for those in kills, but never goes full Grindhouse. Like this is not right. I mean, Jason,
it's a grind apartment, is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Like you don't go half step. You're not playing just the tip right now. You fucking go in and do it, or don't. Like, there's no in between with a Grindhouse movie, right? Like, that's just the way I feel about it. And instead, this movie tries to do that, but then doesn't. And then they have a really great Punisher, which I can say a lot of things, and I'm going to say a lot of bad things about this movie, but Ray Stevenson as the Punisher and the way he looks with the body armor and everything, his whole costume and shit, spectacular. Like
the most comic accurate until Bernthal.
No, as much as I love Bernthal, listen, Ray
and
Stevenson
he's bigger than him.
Well, that's
he's
what I'm saying.
Bigger than him. If
Ray
Stevenson, my money's on this Punisher.
Yeah, Ray Stevenson is imposing. He's larger. He has a full body armor, fucking like SWAT team bomb, like a bomb team outfit on. Like he has the armor there. You can tell I had read he did a lot of work with martial arts and guns and stuff like that. So it's kind of like what Keanu Reeves does. So it all looks natural. He has the slicked back black hair, and he's all in. Like he went all in to be the Punisher in this movie. Nobody else did. He's in a totally different movie. He's in the Punisher movie that I wanted, and everyone else is.
I'm going to argue that Wayne Knight is also in the Punisher movie.
Fine. I agree. Yes.
Because I think Wayne Knight, even at the end when he gets killed, like his fucking like salt and pepper goatee, and he's like, I ain't telling you shit. It's like, now Wayne Knight belongs with,
I agree. Jason, you know something? I misspoke because that was in my notes actually. Yes. Newman, Wayne Knight.
So that
microchip.
Jamaican, not the Jamaican Irish parkour guy.
No. The Jamaican Irish parkour guy. Everyone else in this movie is in Jason X. This movie reminds me very much of the Marvel version of Jason X. And
Jason takes back and slides Jason X.
No, I'm going to say Jason. I'm going to say Jason X because of a couple of things. And I was thinking this movie reminded me very much of Jason X this time around, and I think probably because Colin Solomon is in both of them. That's probably where part of this comes from. And also, I'm watching the main character punch people regularly and then randomly punch a guy and explode his fucking face with his fist out of nowhere.
Fucking ridiculous.
Well, Ed, that's just the dim mock. Don't you know the poison touch of death?
I guess so. I mean, Frank Castle becomes superpowered for one split second of this movie, and it's that.
He knows the dim mock poison touch of death. He learned it in his time spent in Chicago.
I could be right.
He's a member of the Black Dragon Society. It is what it is.
Listen, I stand by what I said last week. We can discuss Frank Castle and bounce him around for a bit, but I stand by this. We don't have a bad live action Frank Castle in any of the 4 incarnations we've gotten so far.
I agree, and I'll be honest with you. Like Dolph Lundgren's probably my least favorite.
Agreed.
Having nothing to do with Dolph Lundgren, just that didn't feel like a Punisher movie. I mean, Bernthal is obviously my favorite, but I don't know. Like it's not cut and dry, man. It's not easy to say that, this is the order. Like it's easy to say that Bernthal is my favorite, maybe, and it's easy to say that Lundgren's my least favorite. But I don't know. These two are great. Like I don't know. It's hard to say anything because all 4 of them, as you said, were really good.
Yeah, given what they were to work with, I have respect for all of them. And what you said about Lundgren is, I can echo that easily because he's just wasn't really in that much of a Punisher movie, but the rest of them, were. Even though
my thing with
something
with Ray Stevens with this version of the Punisher is like recently when we were talking about rebooting and different universes and things like that. I said, like all these Spider-Men, it's like the Yankees need a shortstop. Sometimes it's Jeter, sometimes it's somebody else. That's how I see these roles. Now, sometimes we also have different versions of the comic book. Like the Punisher Warzone was not the same as the regular Punisher comic book.
No.
It was a little more tongue-in-cheek. The artists were a little more cartoony than realistic. It was a different version of the Punisher comic book we were used to. In the same manner that like Web of Spider-Man and Spectacular Spider-Man are very different from Amazing Spider-Man. You know, they take a little more risk. And I think like part of when viewing this film, I take that into account. Like, this is the Punisher, yes. However, when they called it Warzone, like they were like, oh, that's this other Punisher version. So it wasn't a part 2 like I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it was this other vision of the Punisher, which made it a little more palatable for me. Earlier today we spoke, and I compared it to, what was the movie of Paul Giamatti?
Shoot 'em up.
Shoot 'em up.
Great flick. I love that movie, by the way.
Right. Well, you guys, you made the point of that movie was more self-aware. However, I feel like the two of these are kind of in the same vein. However, this movie was not aware of anything.
No, it's not, because I think it yeah, I think, again, Ray Stevenson, Wayne Knight, they're in a Punisher movie. They set out to really make a quality Punisher movie. And then I don't know what was going on outside of that. The rest of the movie is completely drunk and just totally all over the fucking place. I guess, too, if we want to go through the movie and we can jump in on certain characters. I mean, the opening scene that we referenced. So Frank Castle goes ahead and he's wiping out some mobsters in the beginning of the movie, which sets the tone of where the fuck we're at. We get people stabbed in the head. He snaps some old woman's neck who pulls a gun on him. He's spinning around on a chandelier upside down, firing off 2 machine guns.
I fucking love that scene. I was watching that scene as he was doing that going, could you do that? I mean, that could work, right? Because it looked so cool.
It's doable.
Yeah, so I think that kind of gave us an idea of where the hell we were getting. And then we also, in that scene, we meet Dominic West, and then we see the origin of Jigsaw. Then shortly after that.
Can I also say what I love about the scene? And this is kind of what I like about this movie, because I do like this movie. I'm just saying. Okay. We get this deep backstory, not deep backstory. We get to know the character of the old man, right? Mm-hmm. The old man who Jigsaw is going to take over for. We get to know him way more than we need to, considering he's going to be brutally and unceremoniously murdered by the Punisher. Like, he gets to have, yeah, right, exactly. So it gives us insight into characters that, I don't know, we don't really need it, but it's appreciated.
Yeah, we definitely don't, and I don't know. It was an interesting choice to understand why we got this entire backstory about fucking Jigsaw's uncle.
All right, Eddie, you're Italian. When you see people fucking act like this, does this shit offend you? Is it like me when I watch Scarface and I'm like, none of you motherfuckers speak Spanish? What is this shit? Like, when you watch these guys be like, oh, I'm gonna shoot. When you see these guys fucking doing this shit, like, does it fucking, what does it do?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't, because I guess I've just been so used to this garbage for so long. I don't care. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I laughed at that part hysterically. Like, anyone trying to be Italian I don't even care if they were Italian. The actors, they could have been Italian, and I still think they did a shitty job of being Italian. Like,
well, I mean, you had Nick Nolte playing fucking Jigsaw. Like, this guy's Irish or English or Irish.
Dominic West is who plays Jigsaw English, in this movie.
Because I know when he was on other things, I don't know. Is he American?
Let's see. Let me click on, because I have it pulled up here.
Welsh.
I might be mixing him up. And if I'm mixing him up with a favorite actor,
no, he's British. He was born in Sheffield, United Kingdom.
Because when he was on The Wire, he had to fake his American accent. So you got to, and his accent is really heavy. So he had a bad American accent, and then he had a terrible Italian American accent.
Yeah, all right. So if we're gonna talk about this part. Dominic West, who plays Jigsaw, and Doug Hutchinson, who plays Looney Bin Jim, who we meet shortly after.
Terrible character.
I'm actually going to say
terrible character.
Julie Benz is also in this film as Angela Donatelli, who is the FBI's agent's widow. They are definitely competing for the worst New York accents I've ever fucking heard in my entire life in any medium of any level of entertainment.
Hey, yo, Goombats, what? Hey, Ed, you fucking know what you're talking about. Hey, Ed, what up? No, it's terrible. It's fucking real terrible.
I am just saying,
terrible.
We all grew up in New York, okay? Jason and I still live here 44 years later. Rick, you're not really all that far removed. There's New Yorkers in Florida who moved down there. New Yorkers, I mean, they just don't sound like any of the three of them. I don't know what the fuck this is. It is brutal. And if you're not aware, you want to know the level of this, look it up on YouTube or dare watch this film. And
was The Sopranos already out when this came out?
Oh yeah, long before this movie came out.
Why didn't they just hire guys from The Sopranos for this scene?
Probably because they cost too much. I mean, it's bad.
Like this scene could have been good.
It could have been good. But it goes. But the thing is, Jigsaw and Looney Bin Jim go on for a large duration of the film, and each scene gets worse and worse with the accents.
And neither of them make sense as characters after a while.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing.
Jigsaw, I think, is interesting. Jigsaw could have been interesting, except like he was super interesting when he was called the Joker in Batman '89, which I texted you guys. But like, come on, this guy's like, oh, I love my looks. Oh, I've been, my face has been scarred. Oh, I got a plastic surgeon. Oh, I killed my plastic surgeon. Aha. It's like, come on, man. This is fucking Joker 89 shit. But even getting past that, like, I don't know. Jigsaw's fine. Jigsaw's an interesting character. Looney Bin Jim, I thought, was ridiculously stupid. Like, I don't understand why he was there.
Because they had to check the boxes of there are actual Punisher characters that appear in this film.
He's in the book.
Jigsaw, obviously. Looney Bin Jim is another.
Is he a character in the comics?
Mm-hmm.
Looney Bin Jim is a Punisher character. Let's not. Obviously, we mentioned Wayne Knight as Microchip in this, called Micro in the film.
Micro should have been in the Thomas Jane movie.
He should have.
Yes.
Instead of the stupid fucking roommates.
Yes.
Microchip should have been a roommate that he didn't know and got to know, or a neighbor that he didn't know and then got to know. Like, this stuff could have all worked.
Well, that's also what frustrates me about this film, because there's things that could have worked, but there's less that work in this movie than in the other one. Colin Solomon, who I mentioned earlier, plays Paul Bodansky, the FBI agent, who is a Punisher character as well. We get Martin Soap, who is another Punisher character that is actually in this film. And Colin Solomon and Dash Mihok, who I know was on Dexter. No, I'm sorry, not Dexter. On what the hell's the name of that? The Showtime series. With I'm gonna look it up right now to see where the hell which one he was on. Oh, Ray Donovan. My father used to watch that show, and I know he appeared in that. They're both so bad. They are so bad in this movie. And Colin Solomon, Jason, we talked about him, and he was in a couple of James Bond movies in the Pierce Brosnan era, and also he was on Arrow for a couple of seasons as well.
Oh, who's he on Arrow?
He was Oliver Queen's stepfather.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. In this movie,
are you talking about the blackout bald head?
Yeah. who's
Dude, I
also
was racking my brain trying to remember where I know him from.
he's
And
everywhere.
then I was like, Resident Evil.
No, he's everywhere, and he was also in Jason X, which I had mentioned earlier. And again, that's probably where it got my brain thinking about Jason X. Besides the random cartoon violence that goes on in this movie, the two scenes that really get me is the one when he's talking in the police station, and he's talking to the captain, and they're talking about it going after Frank Castle, and he's calmly talking, and he's like, "That is bullshit." Right, like that. It's just insane. And then later on, when they're in the Donatelli house, and he's working with Frank, and then Frank tells the wife and the kid to get out of the room, and he takes the fucking gun and blows up that mobster's fucking head right in
Oh
front
my
of
god!
him. Like,
And it's just the stump.
damn it, Castle! Like that's just him throughout the entire movie. It's he's next level horrible in this movie.
He's pretty terrible, and I think like it's kind of like revisited it like at the end, right?
Yes.
Because the whole movie, Castle's killing people, and maybe it's not good, maybe it is. We don't know. The movie's not fucking finding a position on that until the last 5 minutes of the movie, where Castle's best friend is like, Castle, you always do things wrong. Ah ha ha, you're so violent. And a guy comes up with a gun in his face and says, your money, your life. And he goes, ha ha, all right, Castle, take care of it. All right, Castle, take care of it. And then you just see Frank Castle shoot this guy to death. And it's like, what's the message of this movie?
No, but Jason, I'm gonna throw in here, but I'm gonna throw some stuff on that thing. So the scene here, I know we're jumping around a lot, but at the end of the movie, yeah, like that's the scene I was mentioning last week. Is at the end of the movie when Soap and Castle are walking away, and then Castle inexplicably vanishes for a couple of seconds, and then some guy randomly tries to rob Soap, and he's like, "Oh, Frank, Frank," and then all of a sudden, the cross on the church behind Frank Castle dims part of it, and it just says "saves," and he shoots the criminal.
You're right.
And then it goes black, and then you hear, "Oh, Frank, I got brain splatter on me." Movie ends.
Yeah. That's crazy.
What?
That's how you do it, eh?
But there's more. The police also
nobody said that when Thelma and Louise ended like that.
I guess not.
They go off the fucking edge. Nobody was like, "Oh, where were they going?"
The police also don't know how long Frank Castle's been around, because in one scene they mentioned that he's been doing this for 4 years, and in another one they've been tracking him for 5 years. So either they were tracking him a year before he became the Punisher for no reason whatsoever, or they just don't know. I wasn't really sure exactly which way to go with that one. The Looney Bin gym scene when he's broken out of prison, or they go to, like, Jigsaw shows up and they give him the guy who's been tormenting him about the applesauce, and then he fucking basically rips him his intestines out, and he starts going on about applesauce.
What a ridiculous moment. And also, like, it's very clear that this guy who's been stealing his applesauce is, like, not all there.
Mm-hmm.
And so we just watch this guy murder someone who's not all there by ripping his lungs or his fucking intestine out because he ate his applesauce. Like, I don't know. There are some moments in this movie where I feel uncomfortable. That is one of them.
Yeah, that's something. Another one was where Frank goes to Micro's house he sees his armory there, and Micro's mother is just staring into space, and I think she's sick or something. And
yes, but it doesn't matter. They're gonna shoot her in the back of the head, and she'll just be another bloody stump by the end.
Yep.
I just, again, this was more random character development that I didn't know why, because it never leads to anything. I was like,
yeah,
what the fuck are we doing right now?
It's a film, Ed.
I guess
people were doing their job.
I guess so. I Oh, and then there's also a shut the fuck up line where Colin Solomon tells somebody to shut the fuck up, and I think he's talking to Castle, and it's another screaming out of nowhere. He's like the angry captain that just can't stop yelling at someone in like an 80s action movie. And then, as we mentioned earlier, Frank Castle goes to the widow's rescue the widow and her daughter from Jigsaw and from Looney Bin Jim and their crew. And Castle sneaks in and turns the guy around, punches him quickly, and then punches his fucking face, and it explodes.
Yes, he does.
He is Jason Voorhees, is the Punisher.
Yeah.
It's the only other man I've seen punch a man through his skull.
I don't know. I was just at a loss at this point in the film. Something also, so the plot that's trying to happen or not happen. So there's something where Jigsaw and Looney Bin Jim are working with these Russian mobsters about smuggling in some weapons, and they are supposedly going to sell them biological weapons that they're going to sell to some, terrorist in Queens, and that's what keeps on getting thrown around.
God, this is the worst. The worst. The fact they keep using the term. You're going to sell to some ragheads in Queens, right? Oh God, I fucking it was a visceral, like, oh my God, did we really write this multiple times?
Yeah, it keeps happening over and over in the scene, right? So that's the idea of what's going on with them. And then they get immunity immediately after murdering two cops in the widow's house in exchange for where this drop is going to go down to set up their buyers, all in the same day. The cops are really going to grant immunity to a known pair of criminals, one who broke one out of jail. So you have an escaped convict and a guy who just murdered cops are going to get immunity in exchange for a biological weapons dealer or buyer.
Here's why I believe this. Because these cops are very clearly crooked. Like, they all applaud and love what Frank Castle does, except for Soap, who applauds and loves what Frank Castle does, except he pretends he doesn't, so he can help him, right? Every single cop loves Frank Castle. So, yeah, they're just like, yeah, do what you gotta fucking do, buddy.
Even besides that, though, I still have a tough time in any universe buying that they would grant someone who just murdered two cops that just 10 minutes earlier immunity in exchange for that.
I agree with you.
It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowingly stupid. It's like, what? And speaking of stupid, Jigsaw's speech when he has to recruit an army of random
in front of an American flag,
and he's giving this like speech, and I'm not sure, like, this is supposed to be funny on some level, for some reason. Help me out.
It had to be funny because they had him standing in front of an American flag with like some fucking anthem play. I don't remember what anthem it was.
They were doing a patent send off.
Yeah, they were literally reenacting that entire scene in that one scene. The only reason I allowed this to pass by my BS detector is that 15 or 20 minutes earlier in the film, he said, this is exactly what we need to do, like the U.S. Army. So I allowed
No, I
scene.
got the foreshadowing, besides the fact that this time around...
he foreshadowed this scene, so
I get it. I just think it was they were going for some sort of dark humor that just falls super flat for me.
Oh, it was flat as fuck.
It was awful. So then this all sets up where Frank has to go ahead and rescue Micro and the FBI widow and her daughter in this house that's set up kind of like the raid.
I just want to throw this is the good point to say that Debbie Mazar should have been in this movie because so many people have terrible New York Queens accents. Debbie Mazar has an immaculate New York Queens accent. She would have been great in here. I just want to throw that out there.
I agree. So Frank's going through this whole thing. There's this setup to as a mirage, so you can get in there a little bit easier with these Russian gangsters and stuff like that. Someone who had killed his son, and it was Jigsaw. And Frank goes in the house, and he just starts shooting the place up, and we get the action going. And then there's a couple of kills where one of them where he has this like kind of like grenade handgun on his machine gun. He breaks it through the door. He sends like a bomb in, and it explodes the room full of gangsters, and it just looks straight out of a PlayStation 1 game. Am I all right?
Yep.
You nailed it.
And
polygons.
Yeah. And then there's the random fat dude who's sitting there minding his own business. He's like, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And the Punisher pulls out 2 handguns, shoots him, and his head explodes.
That's how it works, honey.
I guess. I guess. Bizarre choices, and then there's like this showdown right after that with Looney Bin Jim biting Frank Castle, and they're wrestling in a bathroom, and they're going to like I thought it was going to be a fight to the death, and then it turns out leads to a showdown with Jigsaw where he tells him he's got to either kill the widow or kill Micro, and he ends up choosing to. He has this like wink agreement with Micro that he knows what he's going to do. Micro agrees to kind of sacrifice himself, and he shoots Looney Bin Jim, which Jigsaw shoots Micro, and then they get into this other quick fight that wasn't great, and he throws him into some fire, and he burns to death. And yeah, we discussed the ending of the movie.
Strange thing.
Yeah.
Everything the whole movie was so violent.
Then the weird fire.
And then he goes down with fire, which is like, I'm not actually doing this to you.
Yeah.
Like the fire is doing this to you. That was kind of like a weird disconnect for me. Because we saw him punch a guy through the head.
Yes.
Why wouldn't he just punch Jigsaw through the head?
Why doesn't he punch everyone through the head? Through the entire fucking movie. Why save the bullets, man? If you have the superpower.
Save the movie.
Superpower.
The way to save this movie is Frank Castle punches everyone through the head. The whole movie. All of his kills.
Yeah. Thankfully, this movie was only like an hour and 35 minutes. A nice.
It felt shorter than that.
That was nice.
It actually kind of did, because the cartoon script that we got here it does somewhat breeze along. I felt like the pacing in the middle was a little slow, which I didn't remember it being a little slow, because they were trying to say, hey, we have a weird story going on here. You know, where Frank kills an FBI agent by accident in the beginning of the movie, and he's feeling grief over it. And that doesn't really go anywhere.
No, it doesn't, but I want to say that is actually something. Like, if this movie was about Frank Castle accidentally kills someone, like someone he shouldn't have, because he literally just goes, I'm above the law, fuck you, I kill people. And him dealing with having to do that would have been something interesting. And this movie tries to be that for 15 minutes and then just goes, nah, let's shoot a bunch of people.
Yeah. Let's get those blood packets back and let's ratchet it up 1,000.
Jason's right. There was a point in this movie when everybody stopped laughing and listened to Ray Stevens be like, collateral damage?
Right, yes! And then the editor went, yeah, collateral damage is awesome. Collateral damage.
Oh man. So I'm trying to find if there's anything any other random notes about this that I wanted to bring up. By the way, there's a character here under the title of Arm Candy.
Nice.
Bajanka Burrell. I don't even want to try to. No. Nope. We're not even going to bother. Yeah, dude. I if you're a Punisher fan, I can't recommend this. I can't. I can't do this.
No,
No.
I can't either.
I can't.
If you're a fan of stupid balls to the wall shoot 'em ups, if, as Rick pointed out, you enjoyed shoot 'em up,
Oh, you'll
you will
enjoy this.
enjoy this movie.
Yeah. And what makes it even cooler is it's a Marvel character.
Yeah, it's a Marvel shoot 'em up without the carrot, but with the cartoon.
Yeah. So this movie is a lot like, so you know Tetris, right? The video game. It's great. Everybody loved it. It made billions of dollars. And then they made Tetris the board game, which is exactly what it sounds like.
God.
You know, that's kind of this movie. It's like, you know, you got the Punisher, but it's a board game.
I didn't realize that's where you were going, but now that I realize that's brilliant. You want Punisher?
We gotta
Great.
take
This
the
is
fun, the good element. We gotta take it out, but then we still give you like, hey, this is Tetris. Those are blocks.
yeah.
You know?
Just trying to find. Oh yeah, so I mentioned. Oh, Jason, by the way, I wanted. If you actually want a better time with the Punisher, there's a 2005 video game called The Punisher that came out for PlayStation 2.
Oh yeah, right. You were telling me about this.
If you can find that, now that's some fucking fun shit. Which, by the way, I completely forgot that I even had this. There is a 1991 Punisher for Game Boy that also popped up on here.
Ooh.
That was really cool.
He didn't have a Genesis?
No, I had a Genesis, but I mean
No,
handheld.
Punisher didn't have a Genesis game?
Not that I'm aware of. No, X-Men had two great ones. The Spider-Man versus the Kingpin was great.
I have a Punisher arcade game on my Retron thing, and that is pretty awesome.
Yes.
I was going to say that game I've never played, but in my reviews I've watched, it's spoken about like GOAT level shit.
It's really awesome. Yeah, it is.
Rick, they don't have it in that bar video game place by your house that we played Captain America and the Avengers?
I mean, they'd have it if I asked them to get it.
Okay.
I might ask them to get it.
Nice.
Yep. What Ed's referring to is right around the corner. It's in St. Petersburg, Florida. Pretty dope spot. Stop in there. Support.
Yeah. This is... Yeah, if you like dumb movies, whatever, I guess you could have some fun with it. I despise this movie just because I don't even think it knows it's dumb. That's what annoys me with this movie. I mean, yeah, it doesn't know it's dumb. It's just whatever. Like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey knows what it is, even though it's what it is. This is just Lionsgate saying, keep the rights, so we can do nothing with it.
This movie is very Lionsgate.
Yes.
It's if there's anything that makes it palatable to me more than anything is the fact that I like so many Lionsgate horror movies. And this, like, it's very, like when you drink a Coca-Cola, you get that taste. Like, it's like Lionsgate has a certain flavor to it. And this movie has that. It has that to it. That might be the thing I like about it.
Okay. Listen, to each your own. I wanted to have a better time with this movie this time around.
Oh, I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else. I agree with you guys. As much as I enjoyed it, anyone listening to this, I have a very peculiar sense of what I like and what I don't like. I wouldn't refer to this to anyone else unless they had a weird taste like I do. Then I'd be like, you know what? You enjoyed Hobo with the Shotgun? Watch this fucking Punisher movie. It's actually better.
Actually, yeah, good analogy. Yeah.
You got to deal with people on their taste,
Jason, would you put this over Hobo with a Shotgun?
It depends. I would put this over Hobo and a Shotgun for people who like The Punisher and are not familiar with Tarantino movies, but people familiar with Tarantino movies and don't like The Punisher, I'd reverse it. And it doesn't matter because it's all gratuitous fucking shitty violence anyway with terrible movies. But I'm going to say this. I'm going to say Punisher Warzone. I disagree. Watch this movie. Watch this movie. But here's why. So you understand, when the MCU puts the Punisher out, just how good you have it. Because this is a movie that has a very good Punisher in it.
Yeah.
Ray Stevens, good Punisher. We all said that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
This is a fucking cartoon movie that doesn't work. And like there are cartoon moments that don't work, and it tries to be a comic book. It tries some things and it fails. And I'm going to say everyone should watch this before you watch whatever the MCU puts out for a Punisher, so you can at least say, hey, I understand what this new Punisher is in comparison to what we had before.
And after you watch this, watch season 2 of Netflix's Daredevil.
Oh, God.
And
Well,
watch
that's good stuff.
and watch both seasons where that picks up of Netflix's Punisher. Because now it's
Because it's all
MCU canon.
canon.
No, yeah. So technically, you could say, yeah, we're supposed to get the Punisher. John Bernthal is supposed. I mean, in the original version of Daredevil: Born Again, he was supposed to be in it. He was announced to be in it. I'm assuming they're keeping him in it now that they're going all.
I hope so.
Full on Netflix, picking it up from there.
They have to.
Yeah, they have to. I mean,
He's cheap and he's so good.
Yep.
yeah, John Bernthal is class. I mean, now I'm thinking about it, all Punishers, Dolph Lundgren, like when he wants to do his thing, he's good. Thomas Jane's a fantastic actor also. Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson, because I mean, he's passed away since. So yeah, I mean,
I feel like
fantastic actor.
I feel like Barenthal's really a combination of Stevenson and Thomas Jane. Like, he's not as big as Stevenson. He's not as physically intimidating. However, he is physically intimidating. He's got the fucked up nose and he looks like a tough guy. However, when it comes to acting chops, he's got the acting chops like Thomas Jane. I think like he's a great amalgamation of the two. I don't know, man. I think he needs his own real run. I think he needs a solid run under fucking Disney where he can just like really dig into the character and we get some great shit.
No, but dude, I mean, I think you're forgetting the 2 seasons of The Punisher were
Oh,
legit.
they're great. Yeah, but we can have more.
No, we're gonna get more. I don't have any doubt. He's gonna be in Daredevil: Born Again. He'll be mixed into that, and I'm sure they're gonna have they're gonna keep going with the Punisher series. I'm sure they can get him back to do that. He seems to be jonesing to want to redo he wants to pick the character up again. He just keeps saying,
sure.
As long as it's done the right way, like it's supposed to be, that's it. I mean, whatever. Not particularly spoilers, but at the end of the last time we saw John Bernthal as the Punisher, the last shot of season 2, the finale, he's got the skull on with the fucking long leather vest and everything, firing away 2 fucking M16s out of this whole warehouse full of fucking dudes. He fully became the Punisher.
Comic book actor.
All balls in Punisher at the last time we've seen him. So, and he loves the character. He's even one who has spoken against people who have used the Punisher logo incorrectly. Like, that's become a controversial thing, like the whole Punisher logo. In the comics, they even changed his logo. Frank Castle currently isn't even the Punisher. Like, someone else is the Punisher
really?
right now in the comics. Yeah. Frank Castle is actually locked away by the Avengers in his wacky whole thing that happened, which we all know he'll come back eventually and be the Punisher, because that's how comics are written. But, that's an idea of what's going on currently right now in, the Marvel Comics world. All right. So, I mean, I think that kind of does it for us for this week then, right? Nothing else on Punisher Warzone?
Yeah, no, liked it. Got all my emotions and feelings out about it.
All right. All right. So that does it for us this week. Thanks for joining us as always. If you joined us on the Facebook live stream, be sure to check out Granny's Peach Tea's Facebook group, where we got a lot of cool stuff coming out. There's going to be a new Madam Web trailer coming out any day now.
Let's
Yay!
go.
So we got that because they're ramping up that because that actually is coming out in a couple of weeks.
Is it though? Is it?
Sort of weird. I don't know. We'll see it. And that'll be that. If you're checking us out, also Pop Culture Pros, check out popculturepros.com because that's who we are presented by. YouTube, subscribe to Pop Culture Pros. Check out all the cool stuff on the network. Twitter at Pop Culture Pros. X at Pop Culture Pros. And wherever you found your audio-only podcast, be sure to subscribe to Pop Culture Pros. We'll be back next week. All right, we got a season of Masters of the Universe Revolution coming out. So that'll be dropping on Netflix in a couple of days. So we get to check that out. So we'll jump into the whole season. That'll be our next episode. Then after that, we are back into the pre-MCU Marvel movies with Ben Affleck, Jennifer Gardner, 2003's Daredevil.
Affleck.
And then we'll be followed by Elektra. So we got that coming out. We are not done with the pre-MCU
With the Marvel Knights.
With the Marvel Knights. There you go.
Because we did Ghost Rider, doing the Punisher. Actually, we did the Punisher.
Yes,
now
Punisher's
moving
done
over
now.
to Daredevil. This is the Marvel Knights.
That's right.
Yeah.
Moon Knight was done also.
Yes. But I think this and Spirit of Vengeance were the only ones under the Marvel Knights label.
I saw that in the opening. I appreciated it.
It kind of tells you all you needed to know about Marvel Knights in the film so far, at least.
Sleepwalkers.
No Affleck.
All right. Enjoy your week. We'll see you next week. Peace.
Later.
Later.